Hertie Summit 2025. Claudia Müller. Money Matters. How can private investments contribute to a better world? Claudia Müller is an economist and author and founded the Female Finance Forum to educate women in financial literacy and sustainable investing. She previously studied international economics and, among other things, worked at the Deutsche Bundesbank, where she was responsible for green finance. In 2020, Focus magazine named her as one of the 100 Women of the Year. She is an alumnus of the Hertie School and recipient of the 2025 Alumni Achievement Award. Please welcome Claudia.
Money makes the world go round, and at the same time, hardly anybody likes to talk about it. So people actually prefer to talk about either sex or death rather than talking about money. So I'm going to force you to talk or think about money for the next few minutes, just because you can't run away while I'm standing up here. Why is it so important to think about money and to start investing? 3 main reasons, and I could also build up on mental health or on domestic abuse, which is, by the way, hugely increased through financial dependence. So 3 other reasons why you should start investing. First of all, simply because it is smart. If you save your money, and if you save 100 euros per month over the course of 30 years, you have a total of 36,000 euros at the end of the time span. That's a nice sum. If, however, you only save this money and we take into account 2% inflation, you unfortunately are left with only 28,000 euros. So you definitely should invest. If you invest your money and you make an annual return of 4.5%, you have 78,000 euros, and if you invested at 6% return per year, you have 102,000 euros at the end of those 30 years. And for those of you who now think, well, but first I need money in order to start investing, I need time, I need knowledge, etc., none of that is true. So once the system is set up, you need a minimum of €1 per month to start investing, so the excuse of not having enough money just doesn't count. And once the system is set up, you need about 3 hours per year to take care of your own finances. And honestly, the gap between 100 and 28,000 euros, that's a pretty good salary for 3 hours a year. I'm happy to work for that money. So first reason, it is simply smart, not just to save, but to invest. Second reason, it is necessary. It is absolutely crucial to take our money into our own hands. This is the development of the German public state retirement system, the German, the governmental pension system. So the important message of this sign is it's been going downhill for the last 45 years. And yes, I know we are talking about, structural change. No, we are talking about maybe keeping the payout level stable. Well, but we've all heard of the demographic change, etc. So I would not rely on politics entirely to solve this problem. The gap between what we get paid out and what we actually need in order to keep our standard of living, also during retirement, is ever increasing. So we should take money into our own hands, especially if we are a woman. And this graphic here comes from the 2023 Nobel Prize for Economics. By the way, the first time ever that a woman gained the Nobel Prize of Economics, ever. It's only been, on the market for a couple of decades. And I added German numbers to it. And if we have the absolute standard couple living in Germany in the year 2023-24, not in the 1950s, we would have a gender pay gap of 16%, mainly due to the different choice of jobs. In addition to the normal gender pay gap, we also have an age gap. The man tends to be older in a relationship. So he already has more work experience, therefore having received the first salary increase. He's been promoted. Fantastic, congratulations. Meaning that when the two think about starting a family, it kind of makes sense that he's the breadwinner of the family and she's the caretaker of the family. leading to a real pay gap of 39%. So let's stop talking about 16% or even the cleaned gender pay gap of 6%. No, we need to talk about the 39%. Now, what is missing in this graphic is actually that women live longer. So we simply have a 5-year longer life expectancy, which is fantastic. We are healthier, we are better connected, etc. But we have less money to finance a longer life. So we must be better with our money. Plus, what is also missing here is that actually during the time when her curve goes downwards, his curve doesn't just follow straight ahead. It goes up. And that's when the gap really starts to widen and it becomes ever more difficult to maybe change the tasks at home, etc. And what we then have is a potential drama, or it all becomes really bad if we have a drama such as divorce or death or disease, anything we don't really want to talk about, but we should talk about. Let's develop a plan B, and if plan A works, that's fantastic, but let's do it, because the result is a real retirement pay of 1,300 euros for every man and 942 euros per month for women. And honestly, both numbers are kind of shocking, I would argue. So that's 3 reasons why you should start investing. Oh yeah, and over the lifetime, this actually sums up to a gender lifetime earnings gap of 1 million euros. Fantastic. So if anybody now argues that the gender pay gap doesn't really matter, I'm happy to give you my bank account number. So I have a very concrete 5-steps plan for you how to start with your own money management, which is calculate your retirement gap and your investment need. Most people severely underestimate their own retirement gap. Establish transparency, set up an emergency fund so that you are just financially able to leave your partner if he gets violent, and you can buy furniture for your new apartment. Learn to talk about money in your relationship, especially if you have an unequal distribution of labor, of paid labor versus unpaid labor. Learn to invest, if possible, sustainably, and keep it simple, but simply do it. Knowledge is good, but you need to apply that knowledge in order to get forward. Now, maybe you might have noticed that I did not hardly talk about sustainability at all. Where does that come into account? Actually, it is everywhere, in everything we do with our money. It is in how we spend our money, so our consumption behavior. It is in the bank we choose. Do we leave our money at a bank account at a sustainable bank or at a classical bank, which then gives out a loan to fossil fuel companies, etc.? And also, of course, in the way we invest. Now, I would like to make one more point, considering the setting we are in here, namely a Hertie Fellow setting, which is very much based on democracy, etc. So why should we care as a Hertie Fellow? Because, we all know the quote, "It's the economy, stupid." Yes, we need to take care of the economy, but we also need to enable people to understand the economy. So these whole crises, being it tariffs coming from Trump, being it the inflation that we have, they lead people to panic and to go into the extremes in their voting behavior. And this is something we can really take care of if we teach people how to interpret the news. Thank you.